So I'm here in the GPS. Again, we're going to go to Big Lake because it's just easy. It doesn't matter where you go, but Big Lake. Let's do Big Lake and activate it. We're 10.7 miles away from Big Lake. Again, I'd set it up here to be on nav. There you go. And we want to make sure that this is 112.5. We'd tune, we'd push it, and then ident it on the button just to listen to the VOR frequency. And we're going to go ahead and get the airplane up in the air. I'm going to cheat a little bit here and have it go up and about 100 knots. Probably won't survive at 44,000 feet for too long. We'll just start at about, be practical here, 3,000 feet. And there we go. Let's go ahead and hit play here. And let's add the throttle in. Let's hit the heading, altimeter, and push that throttle in, baby. There you go. Hold that 3,000 feet. So we're going to be flying, making sure we're heading's correct, airspeed sounds good, everything's looking good in terms of our scan, right? Alright, with that said, let's go ahead now and do some examples. So let's just say ATC says hold over the Big Lake VOR on the 180 radial, right? 180 radial standard terms. So right now, we're flying 140 to the VOR, right? To the VOR. So since it's 2, we read the tail, the reciprocal, to tell me what the radial we are on. We are on the 320 line, the 320 beam, about it coming from the beam. Alright, and then now it's PTD, so there's the line over here. Oh, so right-hand turn, so the line kind of goes like this. PTD, so it's a teardrop entry, because 180 is on the T side of the pie. So it's a teardrop entry. Lars 30 tells me that it's right turn, subtract 30. So I'm going to fly 30 degrees less than 180. So I'm going to fly a heading of 150 once I cross over the VOR for about a minute. So let's get our timer. There we go, that's our timer. Let's set it. This. Click it. Timer starts up, so I'm starting. So I'm watching my altitude, watching my speed, and ATC says, hold over Big Lake VOR on the 180 radial. So 180 radial on this setup, right here on the T side of the pie. It's P, T, and D, so it's a teardrop entry. All right, sped us up a little bit. As we get closer, 4 miles away, we're going to start thinking about all the different things we need to think about. Clearly, this is starting to turn, so make sure we're on track. And then we're going to fly 150. So we're pretty much on, too far away from it. So as we get closer, 0.7, we could theoretically start half a mile out. It's not a bad rule of thumb, just so you don't overshoot or undershoot. So we can go ahead and start that 150. Right about now. Go over the Big Lake VOR, and we're going to go outbound for 1 minute. Now that it went from to from, we'll start the timer for 1 minute. outbound. Then we want to fly back to the VOR. We said 180 radial, so we have to put that. We have to put that on the tail because we want to go to the VOR. And going to the VOR, we need a reciprocal. Once we hit 1 minute, we're going to turn. Because it's a right-hand turn teardrop entry, it's the same turn right. So we're going to turn right to a heading of 360. 58, 59, 60. So we're going to start our turn. This whole time, we're flying it by hand. We'd be making sure we're staying on the right speed, and altitude is the biggest thing. Based off the clearance we got for that altitude. Keeping the standard rate turn to north. It's tuned in properly to north. And now we have to wait for the inbound leg. There comes the needle. Should be right about the 1 minute mark. Take and there you go. You might have to turn just a little bit more to the right. A little delay. Should be pretty much center with the VOR radial inbound. Go ahead and do that until it flips again, and that's when we're going to really start our timing outbound and inbound. And we'd say here, Anchorage approach, Cessna 172 Papa is established on the Big Lake VOR hold. Better said would be Anchorage Center or Anchorage approach, Cessna 172 Papa is on 180 radial. As we get closer, this should start drifting away. Theoretically, right over the VOR. In this case, because you need to go over the VOR. Imagine we didn't have this GPS, we didn't have DME, what would you need for VOR holders? This flips from flips versus to from, goes to the from side of things. About here, that's when you start your turn with start the timer, 331. So 341. 431. Trying to see if I can restart. Not sure how to restart it on this thing. But once your wings are level, that's when you start your timer to be 1 minute outbound. I do a teardrop entry standard turn. Now, as this is going, we're going to do an example of a parallel. So move the airplane in the second turn, do a parallel entry for a hold. There's the flip again, so that's the marker to start your time. So 28 to 5:28, 1 minute outbound, and then 1 minute inbound. If we take a look at our map, there you go. It's looking like an actual hold. So we crossed it, teardrop entry, holding over to like VOR. Turn, time, twist, throttle, top is the same. So we turn, we start our time, we set our throttle, twist the VOR if we need to twist the VOR to set the radial to the right heading. Two if twist is strong enough to throttle talk and let ETC know that it's on the hold. There you go, that's how a hold's going to look once I get outbound. Like I said, 5, 28. And we're going to start with the right hand turn. Back to the middle. 8. Start our turn. There you go, and that's exactly how it should look. A nice racetrack pattern around the VOR. Again, you go 2,000 feet, standard right hand, standard turns, coordinated, constant speed, all that good stuff in instrument flying. So that's a teardrop entry. I'm going to move us. Okay, let's say we're here to figure out where we're going. To the VOR again. To the VOR. Center the needle. We need to fly a heading of 290, which is the 110 radius. Fly a heading of 290 to the VOR. Let's say ATC says standard turns, hold over the 240 radial, the Big Lake VOR. So again, 2, flying to the VOR, standard turns, standard turns. Standard turns of P, T, D, parallel entry 240. We're going to fly parallel. What that means is we are actually going to fly the same heading as the direction they told us, the radial they told us. So we're actually going to fly a heading 240 when we cross over the Big Lake VOR. So as we get closer to Big Lake VOR, we're going to fly a heading of 240 towards the VOR. 285. Alright, we're getting close, half a mile. Once we cross it, we're going to fly that 240 heading parallel entry. So right now we're about to arrive. So 240, parallel entry. It's a right-hand turn. The only time it's an opposite re-entry turn is when it's parallel. So if they say fly 240 radial, you're re-entering. So turn, time. So we're going to time for 1 minute once we're level. There you go. We're level 845. So 945 would be our return turn. We're going to turn left all the way, and I like to look at, if it's a left-hand turn, I'm looking at this side of the compass. I'm going to fly probably heading up north to re-enter the 060 radial, or 060, sorry, heading to the VOR, to be on the 240 radial. Oh, try that again. It says 945. Because it's a standard turn, we're turning right over the hold, but to re-enter when we're going on a parallel entry, we're going to actually first turn left, then right? So it looks kind of, let's see if I can pause for a second. If I share my screen, we were somewhere here. 240 radial was this, right? And we're going to do right-hand turns. So this is what it's going to look like. What we're doing is we're flying 240 parallel to it. So we're actually flying in this direction. We're going to return back in the opposite direction, which happens to be 060. But we're flying right now 240 out. Then a left-hand turn to what I said was about north to re-enter on the 060 heading. Because I'm turning right-hand turns, I look at the right-hand side of my compass on my parallel track. So I'm going 240, I'm going to look at the right-hand side for that right-hand turn, left turn to somewhere in this vicinity right here, in this 4 o'clock position, if you want to think about it. If I was doing a non-standard hold, I'd re-enter going right first and re-intercept on the 120 heading or something along those lines. So I'd look at the 7 or 8 o'clock heading accordingly. So in this case, let's go ahead and replay. So when we hit the 9:45, I said I'm going to turn left to re-enter the hold. So we're going to go left turn to north. My dog's going crazy because there was an accident that happened right outside my house as I'm doing this video. Alright, so again, we're going left to north, turn, time, twist. We need to fly to the VOR. They told us to fly the 240 radial, so we're going to put that on the tail right there. Turn to the 060 heading once the center. So flying north to re-intercept the inbound course. As that comes in, it's coming in about halfway there. There you go. Start turning right to the heading that you need to turn to, which is 060. Trick is to be relatively quick with this because you're close to the VOR, things are going to swing in pretty quickly, and I'm way off. Just because I was a little bit there. It's okay. 60, we're going to try and compensate for that. That's the inbound course. Once that flag flips again, we're going to start our right-hand turn to 240 and check the timer. Arriving at the waypoint. Okay. And that's the flip of the flag. Wrong. We're going to start our right-hand turn because it was standard turns. 240 heading. That come in. Once we level the wings, or if this flag flips, whichever comes last, that's when we start our timer again for a 1 minute outbound leg. We're on the twist, flip. There you go, it flips. I was at 1350, so 1 minute outbound to 1450. Then right hand turn back to 060. Look at the map. I moved this all the way out there. Remember that? That's how I came in. This is how the track looks like. I came in through here, flew the parallel entry, turn, inbound, re-intercepted. Now I'm doing the hold. As I come around, I'm going to be through the hold over here. Turn, time, twist, throttle, cock. Slowly refining. I said 1450 would be the return back to the VOR, like a total. Time, twist. I already twisted it to say 060 on the VOR heading. Throttle, set, top. Anchorage approach, Cessna 172 Sierra Papa is established on the 240 radial hole of Big Lake VOR 3000. Here comes that 1350, so we can now start our right hand to 060. That's a practical application of teardrop and parallel entries in IFR flying. I will do some more examples and record some more examples of flying. I'm going to do some hand flying, because then you'll see where you're constantly looking at the altimeter. You're going to vary just a little bit left and right, or up and down, excuse me. The biggest thing is to trim the airplane, set your power, and try not to overexert application of yoke forces, essentially. And that will hold the airplane where it's at. That's where you train your eyes to look at your altimeter, the big needle in your altimeter, to see if it's moving with the pitch, essentially. This just makes sure I'm right side up, really, at the end of the day. Standard right hand turns and making sure I'm at the right heading. That's really my primary instrument, so really these three. Airspeed as well, kind of gives me an idea, but really I look at these three and then occasionally this to make sure if I'm needing to be level, wings level. That's going to kind of keep me there, so then I kind of get my eyes to kind of scan like this. Some people will tell you to make sure you do a T-scan or a V-scan or an upside-down V-scan. I look at the primary instruments that matter at the phase of flight. And in this case, I care about my altimeter, my heading, my navigation, and my timer. So I should have been starting my time as I go inbound to the VOR on the 060 radio. And try not to undershoot it. And then when I'm there at the 1 minute mark, I adjust accordingly. If I'm too long, that means I need to do a shorter outbound hold. All right, I think that's good there.